Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us. We're the Hatch Homes Group, and this is our Monday market update. And real quick, I just want to welcome our John Hatch back. He's been away for a while.
We missed you.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back. And I'll say how proud I am of you too for having record sales and while I was away.
Thank you. Well, we missed you and we're happy you're here. So today we are going to talk about this subject that we've talked about before, the housing bubble. We came across this information recently that the search terms in Google of "are we in a housing crisis? Is this a housing bubble?" has increased substantially. So people are worried about this. There's a lot of people that want to get into the market right now, and they're a little bit afraid of, am I getting into the wrong time, right? And we understand that, you know, if I had experienced that, you know, in 2006, that bubble and burst, I would be afraid as well. So we're hoping that we can give you some good data-driven information that will make you feel more comfortable, because we're just not seeing the same things that we saw in 2006 right now. And it's really important to know that. So Michelle, you're going to start us off with the first key indicator.
Yeah, there's so many confusing headlines. So again, like Angela said, we just want to kind of talk about two main reasons. And the number one that is equity is skyrocketed since, the 2008 and 9 when everything crashed. We have seen, more people owning their homes free and clear. The average equity of mortgaged homes is about 200,000 or 216,000. And so, I mean, with the increase in equity totaling almost $1.9 trillion over these past few years, I mean, we really don't see that coming like to a hard crash, because people are not as underwater on their homes, and we'll see a lot less foreclosures. And speaking of foreclosures, there was, back in 2008, 9, I believe there was 9.4 million homes in foreclosure. And these days we're seeing more of a normal, like 250,000. So you saw from that graph that Angela said, even from 2012, 35% of the market was distressed property. And now we're seeing like 1%. And so I think that that's going to make a really big difference in why, we're not going to see a huge crash, because people have ways to get out of their homes in a more equitable way. And so they're not as distressed.
Yeah, thank you. That's all. I mean, just such important information for people to know. The other thing that people were really worried about were forbearances, right? There's a lot of people that went into forbearance, and coming out of that, the studies had showed that like almost half of those people that went into forbearance actually didn't need to. It was kind of just like a reactionary, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with COVID and the pandemic, so they went into forbearance. And then another portion of those people like restructured their loan, so they actually got a really good, like a lot better, more affordable like loan. So it's an important thing to note, because the media is probably not going to cover the good news there in terms of like forbearance.
Yeah. And I think the Biden administration is working on some things that will help offset that, even as we come out of the forbearance period.
Yeah. And the next biggest indicator, I mean, huge indicator for us, was lending practices. So risky loans and lenient underwriting really fueled the last bubble and burst. I bought my first home back in 2006, and I just had to have my boss write on a piece of paper how much I was going to make. Like it was really ridiculous. And versus I've bought in this market, and it's rigorous, right? It's rigorous. And John, you had experience then too.
Yeah, I refinanced at that time, and I refinanced a home for 600,000 or close to 600,000. The home was probably worth 500,000 or a bit over. It was very easy to, they had these non-stated loans, and you could easily negotiate with the lender terms. And a lot of people, a lot of realtors as well, actually use that equity to finance rental properties. So I knew tons of people that had multiple rental units. And of course, when it bust, those all became foreclosures.
And, you know, like now we have a third-party appraisal management company. So you can't just like get an appraisal, like refinance, take cash out for something that's well, like over what your home value is. And that was a huge issue when the market tanked. You got this loan for this much money. It's like, why would you even hang on to the loan? Like, what's your motivation there? And then this is a really big graph here. In 2006, mortgage originations with 620 or lower FICO score. Look at this difference. Look at how many people were getting a loan that did not have the best credit. That's a huge difference from
That's amazing
today.
Yeah. So many changes in the regular, regulations, like Angela, you touched on with the appraisals, but also that FICO score. Like, it was harder to not get a loan back then than it is now to get one. So it's definitely that's a huge thing.
So this is a graph of historic data for the mortgage credit availability. So when this is high, that means that it's easier to get credit, right? So the higher it is, the easier it is to get credit. So back in 2006, I mean, it was off the charts easy, and
just had to fog a mirror.
Yeah, I mean, like really, when you think about it today, it's not that hard to get a loan. You have to give like your financial information, you have to apply, like there's a process, you have to, plan, but ultimately we're not seeing a lot of like credit denial in transactions. When you get pre-approved, it's pretty streamlined. So it's crazy to think of what that huge difference right there,
I think that there's two main reasons there why we're not going to see this bubble first, and then the common and confusing headlines, and everybody's talking, like the buzzword is, are we in a bubble, are we in a bubble? And I think that hopefully this video helped you understand that there's two main reasons why we're not seeing that. And if you want to talk about it more, please reach out and we can put your mind at ease in these uncertain times. It's good to have professionals backing you up with some certainty and some data driven experience even. So reach out.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a great week.
Okay, all the best.